everybody. Welcome to Rock, Paper, Hand Grenades. I'm Matt Connerton, and of course, to my right, the Honorable Gary S. Hopper.
Matt!
That's me.
Good evening to you, buddy.
You sound more Irish every week.
I know. I'm getting more Irish every week.
Are you?
I think, well, yeah, because what happens is, because I'm basically a mutt,
Yeah.
but the Irish part of you is more dominant. So after a while, like that French, a little bit of French, a little bit of Scottish kind of, just wears off, I think, and then you're it's like you're left with the emerald in the center at the end.
That's nice.
Crock of crap.
I like that.
So here we go. This is my campaign ad. I worked on that with Spectrum, and Neil Kirk is in my district, and Dan Donovan, and we're running as the team, the A team, and where. But Spectrum usually does my our campaign stuff. Usually we wait until the general election to run together.
Oh, okay.
We got a primary, so we just did it ahead of time.
Yeah.
But Spectrum usually does this with it's too small for me to show on camera. I don't think they can zoom in on that, but with like the Capitol building in the background. And I said, I don't really like that. It kind of makes us look elitist.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
We're so good and everything else. So
Right.
I went to the Ware Town Hall and the Deering Town Hall and took pictures of the various town halls.
Yeah.
And put that as a background, so it makes us look more local, which we really are anyway.
Right. No.
I also included our phone number, so if people have a question, because you can't. Right now is the season where you're getting all kinds of campaign ads, okay, and they really can't tell you that much, because A, who's going to read them, and B, if you actually had enough information that was worth reading, it wouldn't fit on there, and you wouldn't read it.
Right.
So fundamentally, you're just trying to get the idea out that what your name is and basically what you stand for. If you can get that much out, you did really, really good.
Now, Gary, in this picture, so the other two gentlemen, Dan Donovan and Neil Kirk, they both have open-mouthed smiles.
Yes.
But your mouth is closed.
Right. That's because there was flies in the studio.
I understand. Oh,
right.
We have a call?
Uh-oh.
Maybe it's our guest.
That would be good.
Hello, welcome to Rock, Paper, Hand Grenades. Who's on the line?
Hello.
Hello.
Hello?
Yes, my friend gave me a number for a free reading.
Oh, good.
Free. This would be definitely free since Norm's not here.
Yeah, can you do it, Gary? Can you do a reading?
Free of any...
Wait, I'm having a psychic vision.
Yes.
This caller is late for something. Are you late for something, ma'am?
Am I waiting for something?
Late.
No, are you late for something?
Am I late?
Yeah, like calling a TV show. Are you late calling a show?
No.
Okay.
Well, because
I have an idea. We can't do a free reading, but maybe we could charge her for a reading.
yes, but then
Well, my friend told me it was a free reading. That's why, I called
but that was like
so.
but that was between 4 and 6, not from 6 to 7. This is Rock, Paper, Hand Grenades. You're talking about Norm and Friends was on a little while ago.
Yeah, we only do paid readings on this show.
Yeah, I'm a politician. I can't do anything for free.
Okay, honey.
Okay.
Anyway,
Hey, wait, where do you live?
In New Hampshire.
I know that. Jiminy Crickets. What town?
What?
What town do you live in?
Manchester.
Who are you voting for?
Who do you want me to vote for?
Oh, wow, she's easy.
Oh, I guess.
Yeah.
I was gonna vote for. Do you vote in the Republican or the Democratic primary?
I think our guest is here.
Democratic. I'm a Democrat.
Oh! I know who you got to vote for. Instead of voting for Maggie, okay, vote for Ross Terrio's wife. What's Ross's wife's name?
I just call her Mrs. Terrio.
Mrs. Terrio, because she's awesome. She's a wonderful lady, and she's not full of baloney like the governor is. Okay.
I think I think every politician's full of baloney, but that's my personal opinion.
Well, no, Gary's allergic to bologna, or I assume you.
not.
Well, I just assume you are because you're
no,
allergic to
I don't eat that much of it.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Not good for you. Don't eat any of it at all.
Well, I use the beef. Okay, well, I only eat the beef bologna. Does that count?
It's because you're manly.
Right.
Yeah, I guess it does count too.
All right, hey, we'll see ya.
All right, bye.
Who is it? What
Is that our guest? It's hard to see under the lights. Hello, sir. Hey, come on in. Have a seat. Our guest is here. Yeah, you can go behind us. That's fine.
Frank. Oh, you scared me. I thought
Hi,
I'd
I'm Matt. Nice to meet you.
Matt. Good to see you. Oh, boy. I didn't know that.
You scared the crap out of Matt. He thought he was going to have to talk to me for an hour.
You know I wouldn't leave you hanging. I couldn't do that.
Our guest tonight's Frank Saporetto, who's running for Senate District 19, which is really close to 18.
Sure, Derry,
Yeah.
Hampstead, and Wyndham.
Derry, Hampstead, and Wyndham.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. See my new campaign ad?
Oh, yeah. Wow.
I noticed Gary's
three
the
of
only
you.
one not fully smiling.
Yes.
I was going to say, but at least you're front and center on the top there.
That's right.
Yeah, that's
right.
true.
Hey, you're very, very professional.
Yeah,
I like
see,
that.
I took the pictures of the town hall in Deering and Ware and used
Yeah.
those for the backdrops because usually we have the state capitol in back.
Yeah.
And I think this makes it look a little bit more local, a little bit more realistic.
Well, this is where your voters are, and that's where
That's
they're
right.
familiar with.
They're not in Concord.
Nope. No, there was. Wow.
Okay, so I got
Looking
new,
good.
Okay, so I got a new theory.
Okay.
I got a new theory. Came up with it today. Run it by you guys because you're educated, right? If you look at the one, I got a rotator cuff surgery.
Yeah.
So I've been, instead of riding my motorcycle, I've been sitting in front of the computer a lot,
Oh.
and I spend a lot of times looking at history stuff.
Yeah.
You know, the Roman Empire, the Persian Empire, this and that.
Hmm.
And if you go by, Gibbons is the one who wrote the Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire.
Mhm.
And if you, and somebody said the Recline and Fall today, that was a really good one. The United States, it's going to be the Recline and Fall of the American Empire. I wish I had thought of that. That was really good.
Yeah.
Anyway, so according to Gibbons, the reason the Roman Empire fell is because it basically got corrupted within, basically got perverted.
Before the Visigoths got there.
Yeah, way before that,
Okay.
it was gone.
Yeah.
You know, it was just a matter of time who was gonna do the dirty deed, but it was dead before that. Cancer had already destroyed it.
Wow, it sounds like mass.
Okay. So that was Gibbons' take.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, some other historians have said basically it's as great societies become greater and greater, they accrue more wealth, and they become soft, or some historians call it feminized.
Complacent. Yep.
Okay, or the recline and fall
Sure.
of the American Empire. And so I had another thought today. I don't think I've heard anybody say this. I'd like to think that someday I'll come up with an original thought, but usually they're goofy, so they don't make any difference. But what I was thinking today is I wonder if one of the variables, not that it's the only reason, but one of the variables is that as society gets very, very educated, okay,
Mhm.
and especially the people at the top of the food chain, they become more and more willing to reason and believe that they're enemies because human nature dictates that we think everybody is like us, which is crock of baloney. That
Right.
not everybody is like us. I mean, everybody wants to be like me, but not everybody is like me, right?
That's right.
Right, okay.
Right, yes.
I got them on record saying that.
But it's something to aspire to.
Right,
Yes,
exactly.
Yes.
But when I'm all kidding aside,
I always
is,
looked up to you when you were in a higher step.
yeah,
anyway.
exactly. Especially from the balcony.
Right.
Anyway, my thought is I'm watching Obama deal with all this ISIS stuff, and when he started his presidency, he really believed, or if you go by what he said, you know, who knows what's in somebody's heart, but if you go by what he said, he really believed that if America came out and was less confrontational and more and reasoned with all these different factions around the world, that we could have this kind of kumbaya moment and everybody would love each other, would have a great world hug and everything else.
I got a brother like that.
Okay, yeah, I know. I've met your brother. Anyway,
Well, the things you could have negotiated with Hitler and everything would have been fine.
Exactly.
You know, the people don't understand that. You remember a few years back, we went to I went to Pakistan with 5 other state reps, and we met with Al Qaeda, who calmly explained to us why it was their duty to kill us.
Oh, they did?
Yes, they did. Perfect
Qaeda,
English, by the
Qaeda was
way.
with you.
Well,
right?
They took us. We went to the prisons. We went to the refugee camps. We went to the schools. We did a full. We were there a week.
Is that the one with Bob Guida went?
Yes,
right?
that's right.
Yeah.
You know, very calmly, it's their duty to kill us. It wasn't about George Bush. It's just the fact is that they're determined to kill us.
Sure.
We're non-believers, and
Therefore, death is our lot in life unless we convert.
exactly.
And so that's my point. Is I think society gets to the point of reason or enlightenment, let's call it, that they can't understand that everybody else isn't like that,
Right.
and that you can't reason. You can't reason with a
them
rabid
at all.
dog.
That's right.
You know, if just because you're intelligent and you're well educated, it does not mean you can talk yourself out of getting bitten by that dog who's got rabies.
That's right.
You know, no matter how well you phrase it.
By the way, we have a viewer question via text,
Yeah.
Gary.
Is that a good? Is that
That's a very good analogy.
I agree with you. Our friend Jim says, "Hi, Matt and Gary. If you were the president, what actions would you take after this situation with ISIS, with the Americans being executed? Put boots on the ground or keep bombing?"
I'll let our guest hit that one up first.
I think that we can be very effective with some precision bombing. You know, we can have more resources in the area. I feel that every embassy should have a C-130 gunship within 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes away. At least 1 or 2. There should be a way.
Warthogs. 810 Warthogs.
Well, we're retiring
Awesome.
those. But
No!
those gunships got cannons on them. I like cannons. They work better
So
than
do the
machine guns.
Warthogs.
They do 20 millimeters, but
Yeah,
these
they
ones
do.
have 105s you can fit on a
The
C-130.
Warthogs, the 810 Warthogs are so awesome that their cannon, when it's at full bore, will actually stall the plane.
Really? Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, it's got a lot of
Oh,
force.
yeah.
It's
It's got
Wow.
20 millimeter,
boatloads,
20 as a 20 millimeter
boatloads
cannons.
of power. It just wipes stuff out.
But the C-130 is the battleship of the sky.
Okay, all
That's
right.
why I
Anyway.
like to have one of those. We got to have something. But the point is, you have to have something that's be able to defend our national interest within minutes, especially when you have a hot spot, when you have a place that's known like that. I think Benghazi is just a travesty,
joke.
and I think that Hillary Clinton should be brought up for treason. It is that I think it's treasonous what they did to allow those heroes to be killed. The way
Oh
they
yeah,
did.
I agree. I think it was.
They could have acted. They could have had resources there in the time, but they failed to do that, and they knew what
The fact
what
that
it
the
was.
embassy was under attack and he goes out to do a fundraiser is unconscionable.
They were more concerned with the political ramifications than the lives of
That's
Americans.
all they were
and that's
concerned
wrong.
about. Because they knew it was a terrorist attack. Absolutely knew it. Within a few days, they're still calling it a spontaneous thing. And within
Because of the movie.
Because of the movie.
Yeah.
And I watched that movie. The movie is so stupid. There's nobody that took that seriously. Okay? Nobody. Anyway.
But there were 2 heroes from Massachusetts that deserved certainly were heroes what they did, given their lives for their embassy. They were aside from Ambassador Stevens.
Yep.
These guys should be true heroes.
But anyway, she went up to one of the parents of one of the guys that got killed, and said, and referring to the guy who made the movie, this is when the bodies are coming in, went up to them and says, "We'll get him." Okay, so this is days and days after the embassy, and she's threatening an American citizen who made a movie with retaliation for something she knew he didn't do. And they succeeded. The guy, as far as I know, is still in jail. Right?
I haven't had.
Oh yeah,
since
yeah.
that
They
time.
did. They went after him, and they got him for some trumped up charges or
Really?
something he had done a while ago, and they threw him in jail and all this crazy garbage because of some fabricated story that sounded better just prior to an election.
Now, do you agree with what Frank said? Because I do fundamentally agree with what you were just saying about how you would approach this. Just keep bombing, keep the pressure on with
We could be a
bombing.
lot more effective. We could devote many more resources than that instead of boots on the ground to get to that point.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
unnecessary. Technology is there. Our drone technology, as you know, we vote on in the legislature here, is very advanced.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
So I think that they'd be very effective in
Just the ones we got sitting over Neil Kirk's house are enough to.
Well,
Sorry, my eyes
never
are all
mention
messed
his name
up.
on.
Yeah, sorry. That's an inside joke, but what I would do,
Oh, we have a call.
Another call?
Yeah.
Good. I can't put my foot in my mouth if somebody else is talking.
Kind of high with that cast too.
That's right. Hi, welcome to Rock Paper Hand Grenades. Who's on the line?
This is Kimberly. How you doing?
Hi, Kim.
I have a question. Is Frank still on the air?
Yeah.
Yes.
I have a question. How can he follow the Republican Party platform if he's anti-right to work and supported by the SEIU and gets money from the Teamsters?
Well, thank you for that question. That's a great question. You know, as I'm sure as you believe as I do, Kim, that we want smaller government, don't we? We always want to have less intrusion into our lives, and I don't believe that we should have intervened in the Demoulas market basket issue. That's between employer and employees. So what I have a problem with the party is that we want to make certain that you're not going to just pick and choose the things you agree with, and we're only going to choose those that suit us. If we're really for smaller government, we have to be against smaller government, even when it's not for us. Now, I would go on to some of the other issues, the major issues, such as the casino issue, which is a major issue in our area,
that's another one
too.
you and I disagree with.
That's right.
Hey, wait, can I respond to her?
Sure.
Kim, I want to explain something, too. Is if you look at the Republican platform and or the Constitution, there are a list of positions in the platform, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So what you're saying is, how can he run as Republican because he disagrees with one of those?
No. I'm not saying how can he run as one. That's fine. Obviously not everyone is going to agree with everything.
Okay.
But I'm just saying, support the Republican platform. It's still, maybe not say that and say I support the majority of it, because people get the wrong impression, in my opinion. Obviously, not everyone's going to support everything, right?
No, because if you look at a lot of the Republicans voted against repealing gay marriage. Well, the Republican platform says we believe in traditional marriage. There's a lot of Republicans who go all over the place. The Republican label is actually not as myopic as most people want to believe. There's a lot of diversity in the Republican body.
Even gambling, the party
I agree
opposes
with that.
gambling.
But forget the Republican Party platform. I have the whole issue with being against right to work, because that's worker freedom. That's telling workers you can have the choice. You're not forced to join a union or have to follow their rules. You can get a job, and you don't have to pay an agency fee if you don't want to be an actual member. You can actually negotiate your own salary and benefits instead of having some guy do it for you.
Okay. Kim, I'm not going to spend all night on right to work, but I'll answer your question off the air. Okay?
All right, Kim. Thanks for the call.
Okay, thanks, Kim.
Awesome. Thank you.
They actually have a good point, though, because, as you know, gambling is not part of the Republican
Wait,
platform.
I want to answer the right to work
Yeah,
thing.
'cause that's something you guys have in common.
Yeah, because we're about to disagree on something else, so I want to continue this.
Well, as you know, Gary, we agree on much more things.
I know. We agree on almost everything except a couple things, I think. Maybe two. Right to work, she said about workers' freedom. If you're going into... My wife's a teacher, and I've never been a union member, okay? Mm-hmm. My wife's a teacher, however, in Manchester. I know, because as much as the Republicans, Bill O'Brien and all those people want to tell you that right to work is about workers' freedoms, what it's really about is destroying the union. And that you can tell that if you look at the other legislation those same groups introduce through legislators, it's all about destroying the union. Okay, that's what it's really about. It's not, you can go over the technicality, but that's fundamentally what their intent is to destroy the back of the union. Now, I know that my wife is going to be 60 years old this year. She's been a teacher in Manchester for a lot of years, special ed teacher. Because of the laws that we have passed in our state, she had her bachelor's in special ed, but then they says, oh no, you got to do this. So she went back and got her master's. So she's got all this education, all this time, all these classes that she's constantly had to keep up with, X number of hours per year, and every year they have to recertify her, and this, and this. It's a constant battle to keep up to date because of legislation that we pass or the federal government passes. And I know absolutely as clear as day that if we had no unions, she would not have a job. Why? Because the people in the town hall or the city hall or the selectmen in any town will say, well, we can get this kid out of college, okay, and they'll work for $20,000 a year. We don't have to pay her that.
Right.
And they'll lay off some other people that are younger and older at the same time to make it look like there's no age discrimination, but that's what they would do. Your teachers would have no security at all because politicians would absolutely devastate the ranks of the teachers union. And if people really want freedom and really don't like right to work or be a part of the union, then join one of the regular schools. There's all kinds of private schools that they can go teach at. They don't have to be part of the union. So, you talk about workers' rights. Well, they don't have to work there.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gary, I use my compass is that
You have a compass?
Oh yes,
Is it like one of the really good ones?
Well, actually, I try to think of it as that.
Okay,
It's
okay.
taken a lot of years
So,
to
yeah,
develop.
sorry.
But, and that is that we are the party. Republicans are the party of the individual.
Right.
We're the ones that are championing individual rights, and with that comes responsibility. The other party, the Democrats, they're the party of group rights. They're the ones that have seatbelts, helmets, no trans fats, no big sodas, anything you want, big government. Let them control your lives and keep you safe, until you die in a car crash. So what I think, what I believe Republicans should be true to that individual spirit. The ability to have and bear arms, to have that responsibility, to do the right to ride a motorcycle without a helmet, and also the right not to interfere when it doesn't suit us.
Right.
Sometimes we say, okay, we're fine with individual rights, but I don't agree with your position on abortion, so we're going to take that away from you, and I'll make that decision. Or I might agree with you on labor over here, against labor, but I'll tell you what, I'm going to pass a law that's going to fix it for one side or the other. That's not what I think our party should be about. We're the party of individuals. We should allow freedoms. If you want to go spend your money at Foxwoods or down the street in Manchester at a slot machine, you should have that right to do that. Who are we as legislators to tell people what to do? If you want group rights, that's what Massachusetts is for. They're full of group rights, and you can see what happened with them. And I think the Free Staters chose wisely in coming to New Hampshire because we should be live free or die. It's not just a slogan. Have it mean something.
See, I disagree.
I was going to say, I think
Go
I
ahead.
figured out what you're going to disagree on.
Okay. On the last point and the other point. I was
The
just,
latter or the former?
Yeah, the former and
Okay.
the previous.
All right. Well, that was three of them. Okay.
I think I heard 3 in there.
Yeah, it's going to be at least 3.
Yeah.
All right. If you look at the Bill of Rights, the Bill of Rights of the United States Constitution, and you look at our rights in general, they're not our liberties that are delineated are about responsibility, not indulgence. Okay? In other words, your right to bear arm is not so that you can go shoot out streetlights.
Right.
So you can just do whatever you want, woo, boop, boop, and act
Sure.
like you're
There's
from
responsibility
You're
with
not
that
like
freedom.
an Iraqi
right.
soldier shooting up in the air. Okay? It's about your right to bear arms is primarily about maintaining the balance of power in the hands of the people to prevent a tyrannical government. Your freedom of press, okay, or freedom of speech, or freedom of press specifically, is not so that hustler can exploit women. Your right to freedom of press is to have political free speech, again, to control a tyrannical government. Your liberties are about responsibility, or the freedom to be responsible and the freedom to keep the government in check. And that's what your liberties are about. It's not about self-indulgence. Okay, you don't have...
What is the pursuit of happiness, though? What is
Let me finish.
Okay.
Your liberties are not about you being able to get married to your dog, okay?
Right.
Just because you really like Fluffy, it doesn't mean it should be legal to marry Fluffy, no matter how fluffy Fluffy is.
Right. But it doesn't mean it's illegal to do that, too.
It should be.
Well, there's no
But it
consent
doesn't-
unless
right.
Fluffy can say I do.
Right.
Right.
Actually, I bet there's a YouTube video of a dog saying I do somewhere.
Probably, yeah. You can probably find that. Okay, so my understanding of the Constitution is that the liberties are about responsibility. Period.
For the Bill of Rights. The
Bill of-
Constitution talks about the pursuit of happiness.
Yes. Okay, now if you pursue happiness and you go back to 200 years ago, and the peoples that formed that Constitution, and you know what their religious makeup is, the pursuit of happiness is a pursuit of doing God's will, because that's what makes you happy.
See, now you're stretching the interpretation.
No, I'm not.
Well, because that's not what the Constitution says.
It doesn't say it.
Right.
But if you look at the Christian values, which most of them had,
Right.
right,
That's right.
is that happiness is turning your will over to Christ and denying yourself things like, for instance, people would want to say that Fluffy again. We'll go back to Fluffy. Fluffy makes me happy. Well, in a Christian worldview, that's not really true. It fulfills a desire that will destroy you. It's much like an alcoholic drinking. You want to drink.
I think happiness means happiness. Go ahead.
No.
Okay. But it doesn't. But
Anyway, so I don't think self-indulgence is a legitimate. I think self-indulgence goes back to when we talked about the decline and fall of the Roman Empire.
Okay. Yep.
It's the perversion and destruction, or the cancer in society that destroys society. And I don't think for a minute the founding fathers said, well, let's have a laissez-faire idea of anything, any immoral behavior people want to do, let them do it.
Well, we said one word, though. You said one word, though, when you say moral. Moral is a subjective word. What's moral? Some people, gambling is immoral. Some people, cigarettes it's immoral.
Right.
But it's where you draw that line. That morality is a judgment.
We got a phone call. Maybe I'll get bailed out.
I was going to say.
Or get told on.
Yeah.
Before happiness
like
isn't happiness, I went for is before is isn't is. Okay.
Hi, welcome to Rock, Paper, Hand Grenades. Who's on the line?
This is Dave.
Hi, Dave.
What's up?
Haven't heard from you in a while.
No. Listen, I'm calling maybe to get some comments on. I was riding around town today, and I'm really disturbed about Manchester, and I'm thinking about what about the right of assembly. In Manchester today, as I'm going around, there's police officers in a park.
Yeah, I hear they're closing all the parks.
Why?
Yeah, they're in the park. There's police officers on horseback to keep non-students and parents of students are the only ones that are allowed into Bronstein Park now. And
What?
so
They don't want
they're
the homeless
parading
people
the
hanging
perimeter
around.
of the park.
Oh.
Inside all the local parks now, they're not manned, but they're parking police cruisers to maintain some type of police presence in all the parks. I mean, it's just become a military state, Manchester. It gets worse by the week.
It is getting strange.
It started a year ago removing park benches, so the citizens aren't allowed to sit in the parks any longer.
Do they have any of did they get any of those assault vehicles there yet?
A Bearcat.
Yeah.
There's plenty of public seating.
They say it's to control the drug problem and homelessness problem. Well, there's plenty of us that pay taxes that might enjoy sitting in the park once in a while, because we do live in buildings. Maybe we're in the inner city where there aren't yards or something like that. It's just becoming more outrageous every day.
Yeah, no, I agree, and that's I really don't know a lot about it, so I don't want to comment. But I think your fundamental assertion that the police departments around the country are becoming more and more militaristic is accurate, and it is very troublesome because, like you said, you do have a right to assemble, and that's what I was talking about, the liberty of responsibility. That's part that goes into that. But as far as what's going on specifically in Manchester, I really don't know.
Yeah.
Do you know?
I don't know any more than what Dave was
Even
saying.
on the tax basis of just having, we went through a couple years ago when they opened the new police station where they didn't want city department workers, mechanics working on the police cars because they may do something to make the cars malfunction. But
What?
they're willing to let them sit all day long in the parks around town empty.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to let you.
It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it is. I presume it is. I don't know enough about it to agree with you, but that would be more of something you'd want to go and talk to the selectmen about. Or isn't there a show later on that talks about local?
Oh yeah, well there's the Ed and Joe show.
Yeah, call the Ed and Joe show later on because
Yeah.
they know more about that than I do.
It kind of echoes what Glenn has been saying too.
Yeah.
But
Hey,
yeah,
thank you.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Yeah, take care, man.
Thanks for the call,
You Bill
Dave.
Gary out there.
Yeah, phew, that was close. Go ahead, Frank.
Well, that's why
Hit me with your rhythm stick.
Well, that's why what I look at is I look at whether or not that some right or
Never
privilege is
remember
being
that song?
taken away.
You don't remember?
Yeah, that was an old song. I do remember that
song.
one.
Okay.
Hit me with your rhythm stick.
And gambling is just one of those things where who are we as legislators to tell someone how to spend their money? We kind of have this idea that everybody that enjoys these facilities are problem gamers.
Is that on the platform?
Against the platform says that Republican Party is opposed to gaming.
Oh, so I do agree with it on another issue.
You're more Republican than you knew, Gary.
Yeah.
And they call you a rhino when you
Yeah.
vote against right to work and whatever else.
But the way I look at it is that if they want to spend their money, who am I to tell them what to do with that? And we do gamble all the time. We gamble. I'm a registered investment advisor. Clients, everybody gambles when they put money into the stock market. It's just how do you do that? Not everyone is a problem gambler, but it comes with responsibility. And right now, face it, New Hampshire is not about taxes and fees. We don't have every tax under the sun. We like it that way. We don't have many social programs. We try to spend less, at least when Republicans are in power.
Yes, yeah.
But
As far as the social programs, I think it's like somebody's asking me about taxes, and I've come. You know how as a politician you come down with pat answers for certain questions, just because you've answered them so many times. And my latest one is, well, what do you think about a gas tax or this tax? I says, the taxpayers in Ware and Deering, they're already paying 30 to 40% of everything they make in taxes. Mm-hmm. That's enough.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the problem with the social programs is so much of that money's going to D.C. Getting filtered. Mm-hmm. Basically getting skimmed, and then some of it comes back.
Right, but that's why
it should stay here.
But that's why, Gary, when I look at in generating revenue, that will always opt for optional revenue, something that you have a choice to make.
Right.
It's up to me if I want to go buy this or go buy that. But if I have to earn money to earn a living, I don't have a choice. So I don't want an income tax. The business tax we have 3 income taxes through our business taxes. Yeah. Those are a gun to your head. You will pay this, or you go to jail. Right. So I don't want those taxes. I want voluntary things. I want gaming. I want money.
Your hard drive crashes and you forgot to do it because your hard drive crashed and you can't find the information.
Well, then you may have to start using an abacus or some other type of. You have to find alternative. At least it's up to you though to do that, or change professions as though you don't need anything with math. Go take care of pets or something. So
Fluffy, go take care of Fluffy.
So my point is though is that these are optional sources, and if we are really live free or die, why shouldn't our residents have these choices to make for themselves instead of us making it for them as legislators?
Because I don't think it's live free and die.
I see what you did there.
Oh yeah. No, but I think using that logic. Mm-hmm. You could say legalize prostitution. You could legalize heroin. You could say, oh, well, these are all optional. People don't have to do them. And as society declines and falls in on itself,
because everybody who does heroin is going to die. Okay, not everyone who gambles is going to die. If you continue doing heroin, you're going to die. It's just that simple.
Right.
And if you smoke cigarettes, you're probably going to die. You might not, but you probably will.
Right.
But the point is, you're going to make that choice about it. And and obviously, there's a consensus that heroin is bad; it will kill you. LSD, hard drugs are bad. Same thing. Small amounts of marijuana, they're not going to kill you, but we treat it much worse than lethal drugs the way it is now. It's a life sentence for what we do for small amounts of marijuana.
What?
But the point is, most people aren't aware that sure they do. These are right now as it is, we spend. I know in Londonderry, the prosecutors there spend 60 to 70% of the drug cases on small amounts of marijuana.
Okay.
Now, here's what the problem is with that issue, though, Gary. If you've done ride-alongs with the state police like I had done most recently, everyone that we stopped that we had get out of the car had some paraphernalia on them, whether it was a roach or a grinder or something.
Sure.
Now, if
How
that
much did you get?
if that trooper had made a stop, had arrested that person, all they would be doing is driving back and forth to the barracks.
Right.
So they can't do it. Otherwise, there's no law enforcement. So we either put the millions and tens of millions we need into it to enforce that, or here's the problem: he has to let that person go.
Right.
Now, if that person goes out and gets in an accident, who gets sued? We do. Does that happen? Sure it does. That's why we have lawsuits against us. It is an untenable situation that we have right now.
Right, yeah.
We either got to correct the problem, by putting in the
What did
enforcement
you-
necessary
wait,
to do that, or then you got to legalize it or tax it,
Hey,
make money
hey,
from it.
hey,
Yeah,
hey.
I agree.
Did you vote? I voted for decriminalization. Did you vote for that? Or
Absolutely.
Or
I voted for
legalization?
the wasted money in 2000.
No.
Yes, I voted for decrim.
I know, but did you vote for legalization?
Yes, I did.
Also,
I worked on the tax portion. It was in my committee in Ways
Okay.
and Means. And what we did was we spent a lot of time in the subcommittee developing an entire structure for sale and taxation for it.
Okay.
Now, here's the information we were getting. Initially, the revenue estimates from Colorado were about 112 million in gross sales and maybe 12 million in
Right.
tax revenue. By the time the last report we had was 680 million in revenue. In gross sales with 100 million in gross revenue, net revenue, and all the other business taxes were off the chart
right.
with lower traffic fatalities. That's
Interesting.
out of Colorado.
Yeah,
You
but
know,
that's pretty new. I don't think you might be able to draw some conclusion on the revenue angle of it, but I don't think you can necessarily in 6 months or however long it's been draw a conclusion on the social.
Well, they have statistics on fatalities and traffic accidents,
I know
things
that,
like
but I'm talking about the real social costs, like how many kids are dropping out of school because they're playing video games and getting.
Well, they're
catching
doing
a
it
bus.
now. Right now, 500,000 ounces of marijuana are being smoked in New Hampshire right now.
Where?
In where?
In
In
where?
where?
They are in where? Is that where all this? But that was the estimates.
No,
that
I
was the
was just gonna say,
testimony.
I was
that,
gonna go-
that was the testimony we had.
I was driving down 116. I'm such
In ways-
such a jerk. I was driving down 16.
Is this live?
It is. Yes.
Okay.
I was on my
Go ahead.
motorcycle driving down 16 a couple of years ago and just going along, I go by this house and, whoo, jeez. I mean, I haven't smoked in so many years I can't count them, but it's like I just went. So I would want to be sure, so I drove by again. And I had this like craving for
Really?
Twinkies.
And then you
like,
forgot what happened
I
after?
don't remember.
No, there has to be. We have to realize that there's an issue. We have a major heroin epidemic where we have no resources to correct that.
Yep.
We're all, as you know, we operate on the cheap, and then we have issues where I know that in 2008 we spent up to $35 to $40 million in prosecution for small amounts of marijuana, and then we stopped compiling data for it. Who knows what's being spent right now on that amount? Not to mention after that incarceration, all the other things that go with it. So we really have to decide that if we want to really spend that money, and now these are your property tax dollars now too. These are not state money. This is property tax dollars that are going to pay for prosecutors in your area, for your fire, your police. This is real money. This is you talk about low property taxes. Well, this is where your dollars are going. So you got to decide if that's where you want to go or not. And if you want it to go effectively, if it's not enough, are you willing to raise your property taxes in order to enhance more enforcement of small amounts of marijuana? I don't
Right.
think most people are in favor of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I
with you.
agree with you on decriminalization, but I'd like to see what the social fallout in Colorado happens. I don't see why we want to rush it. But if you just decriminalize it, you reduce a lot of the charges. That
I
you're
can tell you
referring to.
this: there's $687 million of pot sales that drug dealers in Colorado didn't get this
Right.
year.
Because my theory, I've never believed that it being illegal actually stops anyone from doing it who wants to do it. They take the risk, but I don't think it prevents people from doing it who want to.
No.
But
it does carry we have this most severe penalties in the United States here.
we do.
No,
Yeah.
I agree with that.
We have most severe penalties right now. If you're caught with 1/1000th of an ounce inside, for example, in like a pot brownie or something, it's on school grounds, you got felony charges
Wow.
against you too. Whereas if you were a kid and you sold a bottle of vodka that could kill somebody, killed a kid, then you get a slap on the wrist for it.
Right.
Right now I hear from the state police if they catch a kid with a pound of cocaine, they can take the coke and let the kid go. But if they catch him with a bottle of beer, they must make an arrest. Things are backwards in what way we're doing things in law enforcement.
No, I agree with you on the decriminalization part.
Yeah.
Okay, I totally agree. I don't think if a kid gets caught with a joint that should prevent him from going to college.
Right,
Because he
shouldn't
can't get a
ruin
loan.
his
Things
life, yeah.
because the Constitution says that
New Hampshire Constitution punishments to fit the crime.
it has to fit the crime, and that's not
you go.
reasonable.
That's right.
So I definitely agree with that. But anyway, what other
And as you know,
issue?
we're the first legislature to pass that too in the country.
Huh?
We were the first legislature in the country to vote for legalization of marijuana.
Yeah.
Yes, we were. I was all other places. It was done by referendum.
Yeah, that's how they did it in Colorado referendum.
And
yeah.
Washington, and Alaska, and Hawaii,
Yeah.
and now the other states that are.
Hawaii, that must be some good stuff too.
It's funny. Jim sent another text saying, "What's your opinion on legalizing marijuana for medical use?"
Well, I was the first person to sponsor, as a senator, the first senator to sponsor medical marijuana use back in 2002.
Yeah.
That bill, I put that in.
Well, you
I
were
remember
senator
getting-
from 2002 to what? 4?
Actually, 2002, actually 3 and 4 I was, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Okay.
2003 and 4. But actually in 2001, actually I was the House member then, I was sponsored that bill.
Yeah, because when I first got up there, you were a House member with me. Then you moved up to the,
3 terms in the House, then went to the Senate, and then
Right.
a couple terms off, then back to the House 3 terms.
right.
And back into the Senate, but always on Ways and Means since we formed it in 2000, and ED&A before that.
Right.
And, in Ways and Means, I can tell you that, we have no other revenue sources.
Right.
We're looking at an income tax, a sales tax, or the only other options are gambling and marijuana. That's it.
Right.
We clearly don't want an income tax. We don't
Right.
want a sales tax.
Right.
So now we have a $50 million MET, Medicaid enhancement tax settlement that we have to pay, or else we pay a lot more. That was a great settlement that we have. And of course, we're under budget right now. We're running approximately $35 to $40 million behind plan at budget right now. So we're
Now,
going to be.
this summer was a lot better than it has been in a lot of summers. I would think our
Yeah.
income from the tourism is
Well, as you know, our
pretty-
fiscal
pretty
year
good.
ends June 30 is when the last fiscal year ends. So the new one started in July.
Right.
We're getting numbers in now too, and of course we'll
I
find out
bet
what the fall
you it's
estimates
up
are.
pretty high.
It may hopefully
the
will be up
weather's
high.
been just so
However,
cooperative.
but here's what the problems are: that $50 million MET bill. Already, we're starting in the hole. And on top of that, now too, we're talking about social costs. And Massachusetts legalizing gaming, estimates are as high as $50 million in social costs. So we're already going to have them anyway. So we're already we do have problems in the state. And we tend to spend, but luckily I think that the pendulum is going towards the Republicans this term, and
Yeah.
we'll end up having being a little more frugal, I think.
Yeah. So what other issues are important to you? I had.
Well, a bill I sponsored that you agreed to is my EBT bill.
I
It was
agreed with
popular.
you on something?
Well, yes, you did.
Which
Of course
was
you
E-
did. You
which was
you didn't
EBT?
think that people receiving welfare should spend their welfare dollars on booze and tobacco and alcohol.
Oh, I remember. I went into Riley's with Lee Quant. Okay, Lee's like in back of me,
Yeah.
and
Representative Lee Quant.
Yeah,
Representative.
Representative Lee Quant, and I went up and I was at the counter at Riley's, and I said it nice and loud so that everybody could hear, because I'm kind of shy, and I says, "Hey, can I buy that 9mm with my EBT card?" The guy behind the counter didn't know how to respond to it, but you could hear people laugh.
Well, the answer is yes.
The answer is yes.
Is it really?
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Oh,
You can buy whatever you want with it. I
is-
think we had receipts from bars and from
Oh, really?
all kinds of
Oh,
things.
yeah,
people
New
spend
York,
it
there
on,
was-
too.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I thought it already was. I thought you couldn't.
No, New York, the guys were using it for strippers
Strip
and
clubs,
everything
yeah.
else.
Yep.
Oh, yeah,
All the
yeah.
works, whatever you want. So I put a bill in. I had a bill this past term that said that you can't take those EBT cards and use them in New Hampshire for alcohol and tobacco to purchase them. We even had a woman that was fired for refusing to sell alcohol to somebody with an EBT card.
Oh, yeah.
And she came and testified in favor because I thought that she did a courageous thing. She got fired for doing the right thing, and that's wrong. So, we introduced that bill, and of course, we were controlled by the other party, it died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I thought that was a great bill.
No, that is
but
a
you
good
know,
bill.
one big issue I do want to bring up though is that you may be familiar with the issue I put in of taxing the Pinkerton High School. There was a bill in that's right now. Pinkerton is the largest private high school in the United States,
Well, the one down in Derry.
the one in Derry,
Right.
and more than a third of those students don't come from Derry. They come
Right.
from Auburn, Chester, Hooksett. They come from other towns, and Derry has no say in that. Yet Derry taxpayers, the property taxpayers in Derry, pay 100% of police and fire services for that for
Right.
them. And the other towns don't pay anything at all. On top of that, they lose that the whole campus there is probably worth $250 million. It's assessed at $43 million. That means that there's $250 million that Derry taxpayers don't have paying into the rolls. And that's fine. That's okay. But the problem I have is that we're paying for services for kids from other towns, and we don't have a say in who gets elected into that. And I take offense when my opponents there say that I'm trying to tax a taxpayer and charge people taxes. They're playing on their ignorance. This is about fairness and taxation.
That's actually one of the things that really kind of bothers me about every election. You see that in every election. They're hosing Marylinda Garcia over immigration.
Oh, I've
Just
seen
absolutely trashing her.
Gary
And
Lambert's
you know,
ad,
you know
yeah.
Merrill Linda. I mean, I don't know if you're voting for her or not, but
It's not my district.
right. But oh yeah, that's right. But anyway,
that ad is brutal.
but she's a good conservative woman. She's like conservative, like
I'm
we
a
were
Frank Ginta supporter.
Okay.
Go on record for that.
Okay. But anyway, but if you look at her voting record, it's very, very conservative.
Yes, it is.
And they've
Yep.
just Lambert's found the Achilles heel that most Republicans probably don't agree with, and is just freaking nailing her,
Flat out calls her liberal.
Yeah.
Liberal Merrill Linda
they were-
Garcia.
which is a total lie.
and even refers to the Obama Garcia plan on immigration. Oh, the ad is brutal.
It's wicked brutal, and it's a total lie.
It is,
I mean,
yeah.
I don't agree with her on immigration.
Yeah, I don't. You're trying to.
It's like
portray
you
an
and I.
opponent
I
as-
would,
yeah.
it's like you and I. I think we agree on probably 80%.
More than that. I'd say 90%.
Yeah,
So
probably
plan on
closer to
10.
90. But that doesn't make you a liberal.
Sure, right. Well, we know we have liberals. We know we have liberals in the House. We know
Oh,
they
we
are.
do. We do have people who are legitimately very liberal who run as Republicans, but
Yep.
but most of them are Democrats that are that liberal.
Sure.
Yeah, I think
Well, they do. They
the
try
way
to
they
portray
abu-
that. I know, for example, you don't support an income tax. So some opponent of yours to try to portray you as doing that is ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly.
We voted against it I don't know how many times.
Right.
What they try to do is try to take one a vote that's not really an income tax vote and try to call it that and say you
Right.
voted for it and make that up. And that's what they do in my case. And they kind of play on the ignorance of voters. in
yeah,
that
which is
regard.
sad because people don't have the time to research it.
That's true.
Well,
That's
you
right.
go, you
That's
go
right.
through that with the gun stuff. You've been through that.
Oh yeah, the NHFC's attacked me a bunch of times.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
New Hampshire Firearms
yes.
Club, Dave
yes.
Wheeler, the terrorist of the gun
Well,
group.
if you don't vote 100%,
With Dave Wheeler, yeah.
It's all or nothing.
You're punished. But no, I've always had good remarks, marks anyway, and we usually don't do too well. Don't on most of the issues. I think we agree on a lot of those gun issues.
I know. That's what I'm saying. We just there's certain people that just have to distort the truth. I remember what they did. What did they do to? You remember our friend Bob Meade?
Yes.
Oh, they torched him.
See, I didn't see what happened in the election.
Oh, it was horrible because he last no, it was 2 elections ago, right? No, was it last? No, it was last election. Because Bob O'Brien was running for re-election, and whatever group, it was one of those shadow groups.
Yeah.
It was actually based out of Derry, according to their literature, but it was just a storefront, and there's no way you could contact them through the storefront. Coincidence? I think not. So they Bob Meade, who was just a genuinely, he's one of those people up at the State House that was just genuinely a good guy.
He was. He would always help anyone.
He helped anyone. He was even on Right to Work. He's trying to talk me into voting for Right to Work. And he says, "What if?" He said, "I go into his office." He says, "What if I told you, if Right to Work goes through, there's 10,000 jobs that will be created in New Hampshire within a year?" He says, "Is there?" He couldn't bring himself. he couldn't bring himself to lying to me. You know what I mean?
I think Bob's an honest guy.
Yeah, he is an honest guy. And anyway, so he was told by O'Brien to go to these different Republican meetings, I think for a specific purpose, but half of what he was there for was to recruit.
Yeah.
And I think somebody called him on it because he's getting mileage
Right.
for
That's what
recruiting,
happened, too.
and
Now,
which-
Bill used to go to towns to push on issues and
And recruit.
And recruit too. But I know he came down to Derry to try to work on us on the Right to Work issue, and but he was very upfront. He was fair about it. He wasn't looking for retribution. He never lied to me either. Too. He was
Right.
always upfront.
But I'm saying is that they just because Bob refused to return that money because he had already been approved and what he was doing was legitimate and the mileage was legitimate and it wasn't that much money. He didn't care about the money. He just wasn't going to return the money because that inferred that he did something illegal or
Yep.
unethical.
Yep.
And he knew he didn't. So he refused. So they had pictures of him behind bars and everything
Okay.
else
So I didn't know
on.
that was how
Oh, it's horrible.
Wow.
No, but in my district, of course, our senator retired, and he wrote the gas tax increase to 4.2 cent increase, and it doesn't. It only funds the highway fund by about 75%, and as you know, safety dips into that fund and
Right.
other things, and so we have to fix that too. And then, of course, when he voted for Obamacare, and when they voted for that bill, Parkland Medical, which is our largest employer in my district, was outside of the system. So everybody lost their doctor by this.
So he quit as a senator because
and
he
pushed
knew he
for
couldn't
Foley,
win.
And then he gave Jim Foley $6,000 to run against me.
Really?
Yes,
'Cause
that's the way it works in Derry.
I thought he had agreed to support you years ago.
He did. He called me and asked me to support me if I support him for 2 terms, and then he decided to run, I guess.
Wow.
But he wrote the gas tax. He wrote all those Obamacare things, and I opposed those adamantly and run against them. And now he's pushing for his next successor, which is Jim Foley. But I disagree. I don't think we need the gas tax increase. I don't think that we also need to have Obamacare, especially not with Parkland out of it. Since then, Parkland is now back in the system of the exchange. But as you and I did, I think you voted like me to keep New Hampshire out of the exchange.
Yes,
a couple of
absolutely.
years ago.
Yeah,
and now in the Supreme Court, it ruled on our side on that too. So we made a good decision back then.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens in the future right now, but still we still have that increase already there, and we have the issue with the Medicaid enhancement tax.
No, it's just that whole thing is just an increase in the scope and breadth of the federal government, and I just vote against that every time. If I see a bill that's going to that the federal government says you have to do this because I vote against it. I don't care why the because is.
That would help you with the the Liberty Caucus and thing. Actually, I'm the only candidate in my race that has a 5-year honor roll in the Liberty Caucus.
Really?
Yes, but they endorsed the other candidate. But I'm the only guy. No, that's okay. See, it's all about
Oh,
politics.
yeah.
It doesn't matter how you vote. It's more about the politics.
It is.
Oh,
It is.
absolutely.
It is.
Because if people know me, they know I'm about liberties, individual liberties. and
Well, I
that's
know
it.
that for I don't know how many years in a row, the Liberty Alliance, I think it is,
Yes.
has sent me money, $50. I mean, it's not much, except this year.
You ultra right winger, you.
I know. Except this year, they endorsed Donovan, and Kirk. Because now, for whoever's controlling Liberty Alliance, the social issues are more important than the fiscal issues.
Yeah.
And so it's just ridiculous. Oh, before we finish, Frank, we have to mention we had a guest last week.
Yeah,
Chris
Blevins.
Chris Blevins,
Yes.
who's awesome lady. She was wicked cool. Anyway, they're doing tomorrow.
Related to Ken? I know Ken.
No, I don't know. Anyway, they're doing a fundraiser in the park tomorrow night. I don't know what the time is. That's why. Are you trying to zoom?
Yeah, I'm looking for it. Yeah, I can't zoom in. It's from 5 to 9:30 p.m.
5 to 9:30 at Veterans Park. There's going to be a lot of stuff going on. Get your butt down there. It's supporting. What's the group again? I said it wrong last week.
Yeah. Oh, it's the IM1 NH. IM1 is the name of the group, and it's the Day to End Childhood Homelessness. That's the official name of the event.
Yeah. But anyway, it's the people that the group that does the women in transition. Is it women in transition?
Women in transition.
That's
yeah.
it.
Or families.
Families in transition. Yeah. Sorry, I knew I'd get it eventually because I get brain damage. And anyway, families in transitions, go down there and support them. They're doing their best to help these people who are are homeless and they got kids and definitely the more vulnerable members of our society. Frank Saporetto, I remembered that because it says it on your shirt.
Everywhere we go, knocking on doors. 100 doors a day.
Oh, really?
That's what we got to do. That's why I just came right from knocking on doors.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
You can't do that and wear. You'd lose. You'd have to buy extra pairs of shoes. All the houses are like,
Go around on a Segway.
Use a Segway. That's the way you do it too. Although you need an all-terrain Segway for some of those
not
driveways.
where. You
Yeah.
go around on a Segway, you're going to lose votes. You're going to think you're a Democrat.
Well, Wyndham, Derry, and Hampstead's my district.
Okay. Frank, good luck, buddy. Thank you.
Good luck to you, to Gary.
We'll see you guys next week. What do we got next? I don't have a guest for next week yet.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't usually
It's gonna-
wait until the last minute.
No.
You
no,
have
maybe
session
you do.
next week anyway.
No, not next
We
week.
do.
It's the week after.
Is the week 17th?
Yeah, 17th.
Yeah,
Next
the week
week is
after.
going to be the 12th. Because
Yes.
the 11th, no,
That's right.
no,
Wait.
no, the 10th.
The 9th.
Because 9th is
the following week.
Yeah, election. Remember to, if you don't live in Ware, get an absentee ballot. Vote for me next week.
Everywhere, Tuesday the 9th. Election everywhere.
We'll see you guys.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.